Okay, so I'm gonna bring you along with us tonight for our little twin nighttime routine. Just got back from a little walk. It's about 5:15 and this is like the time where we start winding down before they eat, take a bath, and relax before bedtime. So let's go see the little twinnies in their swing. So it's about this time of day that I kind of make a point to be quieter and calm and create like a bedtime type of an atmosphere where we don't really play loud music. We don't, not that we ever play loud music, but we don't use the toys that light up with all the music anymore. Just play with their rattles, books, and their swings. Keep it nice and calm and quiet so that they know it's time to wind down and it's time for bed. So we are going to get ready to do our bath time now. It is like 5:45 and I like to feed them usually around 6 or 6:15, and then we burp them a little while, read them a book, and then we put them to bed. So while Andrew goes and sets up the bath situation, I usually hold both boys so that he has free hands. He just gets a sponge bath, so we like to do his first so that the tub is dry already and not wet from his bath. So Andrew's gonna go set that up and I'm gonna hold these boys. So there's probably a better way to do this, but I just use this press and seal stuff to just wrap around his cast to keep it dry while we take a bath. So it's actually all ready. It's all wrapped all up around his legs so it doesn't, no water gets in up there, and then nothing around his toes. I just used 2 sheets of it and then he's good to go. So I think we're ready for the bath time. While I go do the bath time, Andrew takes the other one and tries to keep it as happy as possible. But this time of day, you know, kind of hard to do.
A few moments later.
Okay, so we've got one bath done, and while Andrew goes and sets up the next bath, fills up the tub, he's gonna wait there. And then I am going to lather him up with lotion. This is the lotion we're using at the moment, Baby Dove. And part of our nighttime routine is singing the same nighttime songs. So we have a set of morning songs and then we have a set of nighttime songs that we sing. But also, we don't do a bath every night. We do it every other night. And the nights that we don't do a bath, we just wash their little hands off with a soapy rag, and you know, all the dirty parts of them, we just use a soapy rag. This is every other night that we do the bath. Okay, so I'm gonna get him all lotioned up, dressed, do the second bath with Grammy, and then we'll feed him. So this is the feeding situation that we have. I sit in one rocker and Andrew sits in the other. Sometimes it's my mom who's here. Sometimes it's Andrew. But we will feed them. Right now it's like 6:35. So we'll feed them, burp them, and then just kind of have some quiet playtime before bed. Usually around 7 is when they fall asleep. So yeah, we're getting there. Their bottles are gone. And now it is time to just burp them, calm down, wind down, and I'll tell you what I do to put them to sleep. It took a couple days of practicing this little modified sleep training, but pretty much we don't rock them to sleep anymore. I'll just kind of, when I know it's time to put them down, I don't rock them, but I stand with them, bounce them, shush just a little bit until I see their eyes like get heavy. Then I put them down and kiss them, say, I love you, see you tomorrow, and then leave. And then we use the 3, 5, 10 method, where we go in every 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and then 10 minutes. Just pat them. We don't pick them up if they're still crying. And take about 15 seconds per baby if they're both crying. Pat them and say, it's okay, I love you, blah, blah. And then walk out of the room and then wait 5 minutes. And then we go back in 5 minutes later if they're still crying. And then we go back in 10 minutes later if they're still crying. And I'm not super strict with it. I feel like sometimes if they are crying for way, way, way too long, something is wrong. Like they might need to burp. And that happens a lot. Like if they've been crying for like 20 minutes or half an hour of this 3, 5, 10 method, because it usually works. Usually 3, 5, 10, we don't even have to go the whole, do the whole 10-minute thing. They're usually out by 3 or 5 minutes. But if they're crying for like a half an hour, then I'll like pick them up and rock them and burp them. And usually it's that they have to burp. So I don't let it last forever. Because they're still pretty young. They're like 4 months old adjusted right now. They're 6-month-old babies, but born at 30 weeks. Developmentally, they're only like 4 months old. So I don't really let them cry like super long amount of time. It's really hard to hear. And usually it's for a reason. Like something is actually wrong if they're crying for that long. So now we'll probably just read a book and put them to bed in like 5 minutes. It's like 6:45 right now.
A few moments later.
They're asleep. So we didn't even have to do the 3, 5, 10 situation. I mean, the good thing now is they actually just fall asleep when we put them down. But the way we got to this point was the 3, 5, 10 method. So around this time of day, usually change my clothes because I know that I won't be spit up on anymore. And I can be a little bit more fresh. But yeah, now I am going to make some cheeseburgers for us. Yeah, this is usually how the night goes. If they wake up at any point, which sometimes they do. So it's, what's the time? It is 6:49. Usually around this time, like 6:30 and 7:30, anywhere between there, they're asleep for the night. But sometimes they'll wake up and we do the 3, 5, 10 method every time they wake up between now and like about 2. They can sleep about 7 hours usually at a time, and then they wake up and they feed once overnight, and then they'll sleep until about 7 in the morning. So I'm pleased with it. It's much better than what it had been, and you know, kind of just try to survive over here. Anyway, hope you're doing well. Hope this was fun to watch. Maybe got you a little sleepy yourself, and maybe now you can be nice and cozy and do your nighttime routine. Quick update. I am having to do the 3, 5, 10 method right now because Grammy just woke up. So I'll say 2 things about the sleep situation. Then I'm gonna go for real. Andrew's so nice. He's doing the dishes before I can even get into the kitchen to make my cheeseburgers. The first thing is I just kind of glossed over the fact that implementing the 3, 5, 10 method with twins is challenging because there's the whole, you know, what if one baby falls asleep and the other one wakes up and is crying? He wakes up the other. Like right now, Gabriel is sleeping and Graham is screaming. And so if I had one, I could easily do that 3, 5, 10 method, no problem, because I'm not concerned about, oh, crap, Grammy's gonna wake up Gabriel, which most of the time he does. Like he wakes the brother up, and then I have to do the 3, 5, 10 method for both of them. And sometimes it works out that they both wake up at the same, you know, it's a lot more complicated with 2 because there's the whole other sibling situation, other baby situation that, you know, you don't have to worry about when you have one. You can just sleep train that one and you just aren't concerned about anybody but your other, you know, your baby who's crying and whatever. But the twin situation complicates it. But luckily, you know, I was able to work it out. So it hasn't even been 5 minutes yet and he has stopped crying. So that's a good thing. The second thing kind of that goes along with that, it's hard to do the sleep training situation with twins, is, I'll be honest, sometimes I will just feel some type of way that if he's crying and I feel bad for him, I go in and pick him up. And I don't do the 3-5-10 method. Sue me. I just love to hold my babies. I love them. And I sometimes just feel like, you know what, if it sets me back in terms of my sleep training a little bit, if I pick him up, I don't care. I want to pick him up because he's squishy and he's cute and he's sad. So sometimes I do that. Most of the time I stick with the method though. I would say like very much most of the time I stick with the, because it's magical, like 3-5-10 or 5-10-15, whatever method you use works, because you think the crying's gonna last forever, but it doesn't all the time. So I usually stick with it. But if I'm being totally honest, like, it doesn't set me back if I go in and pick him up. I have not been set back ever since we started this method. They sleep those long stretches. As soon as I put them down, they don't cry for me to pick them back up. So it doesn't really ever set me back if I just want to pick him up. He gets the comfort that he needs and I put him back. Like that's sometimes too. Sometimes they don't need a burp if they've been crying for like a half an hour. So, you know, sometimes they do need a burp and I pick them up, and sometimes they don't and they just want to hug me and they fall right asleep as soon as I pick them up, put them down, and then they're fine. They were just crying out for a little hug, and I am fine with that. That's just what I choose to do. So biggest part of sleep training, whatever way you choose is best for you, I think is very important. You're the parent. You need to listen to your own intuition of what's going to work for your babies and what's going to work for you, because you need to sleep too, and you need peace of mind that the way you're going about it is like what feels good to you. So don't let anybody tell you what to do, especially like if somebody who only has one kid. Nothing against people who only have one kid, because I know that's its own thing, but like, they will try to give you advice on how to get your babies to sleep. And it is just not the same situation with one as it is with two. Many other factors to consider. So, yeah. Well, there he's asleep. That was my little update. And I'm going to go now, make my burgers, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye again.